I mean, it's not like people have my phone number and can call me. Like, like it doesn't matter.
The San Antonio Spurs entered the 2006 NBA Finals looking like the NBA's next dynasty in waiting. They had the league's most unique superstar in Victor Wembanyama, an all-star running mate in De'Aaron Fox, one of the brightest young guards in Harper, and a fan base already dreaming about multiple championships. Instead, just 5 games later, they walked off their home floor watching the New York Knicks celebrate a title while questions surrounded nearly everyone involved. Naturally, much of the blame has fallen on De'Aaron Fox. After all, this was a finals series filled with missed opportunities, poor shooting performances, and one of the most costly late-game decisions basketball fans have seen in years. Others pointed the finger at Victor Wembanyama, arguing that true superstars don't allow multiple double-digit leads to disappear on the biggest stage. Then there's those who believe the real culprit stood on the sidelines, where the Spurs coaching staff failed to make the adjustments necessary to save a series that was slipping away. The truth is that championships are rarely lost because one player or one moment. They're usually lost because several problems reveal themselves at the same time. Today, we're putting the Spurs' final collapse on trial and examining the case against Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and head coach Mitch Johnson to determine who really lost San Antonio the NBA championship. So in the words of the great philosopher Kanye West, let's play the blame game. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know who I should do next. The San Antonio Spurs didn't arrive in the NBA Finals by accident. This was the result of several years planning centered around one player, Victor Wembanyama. After being selected first overall in 2023, Wembanyama quickly developed as one of the most impactful players in basketball. His combination of size, skill, rim protection, and offensive versatility transformed San Antonio from a rebuilding franchise into a legitimate contender far sooner than many expected. Wanting to accelerate their championship timeline, the Spurs made a major move by acquiring De'Aaron Fox. Already an established all-star and one of the league's fastest guards, Fox was brought in to provide veteran leadership, shot creation, and a dependable second star capable of easing some of the pressure placed on Wembanyama. On paper, the pairing appeared ideal. San Antonio now had both a franchise superstar and an experienced co-star entering his prime. The Spurs also received a major boost from rookie guard Harper. While initially viewed as another young piece for the future, Harper's confidence, scoring ability, and poise quickly earned him a meaningful role in the rotation. Throughout the season, he consistently showed flashes that suggested he could become much more than a typical rookie contributor. Under first-year head coach Mitch Johnson, San Antonio successfully navigated a difficult Western Conference and reached the NBA Finals against the New York Knicks. With a talented roster, home court energy, and multiple stars capable of changing games, many believe the Spurs were positioned to capture the franchise's next championship. Instead, the finals exposed cracks that had been hiding beneath the surface all season long. Stunt number 1, the case against Victor Wembanyama. Whenever a team loses the NBA Finals, the spotlight naturally shines brightest on its biggest star. Fair or not, when championships are won, superstars receive most of the credit. When championships are lost, they receive a large portion of the blame as well. That's why Victor Wembanyama cannot completely escape criticism for what happened in the finals. To be clear, Wembanyama was not bad. In fact, compared to many of his teammates, he was arguably San Antonio's most consistent player throughout the finals. He protected the rim, rebounded, scored, and remained the focal point of New York's defensive game plan from beginning to end. There were stretches where he looked every bit like the future face of the NBA. The problem is that future faces of the league are ultimately judged by a different standard. The first criticism revolves around control. Throughout this series, the Spurs repeatedly found themselves in commanding positions, only to watch those advantages disappear. Multiple double-digit leads, including several that approached or exceeded 20 points, slipped away. While no single player is responsible for an entire collapse, franchise superstars are expected to stabilize those situations, whether through scoring, leadership, rebounding, defense, or simply settling their teammates down. The best players in the world find ways to stop the bleeding. Too often, Wembanyama was unable to do that. There's also the question of shot selection. For all his unique offensive gifts, Wembanyama continues to fall in love with the three-point line at times. Instead of consistently punishing smaller defenders closer to the basket, he often settles for jump shots that allow opponents to escape pressure. In a finals environment where every possession matters, those decisions become magnified. Then there were the free throws. Championship basketball is often decided by a handful of possessions, and missed opportunities from the foul line can quickly become the difference between winning and losing. Several important misses came at moments when San Antonio desperately needed points to hold momentum or extend the lead. Still, despite all of that, it's difficult to argue that Wembanyama was the primary reason the Spurs lost this championship. He was productive, he remained the team's best overall player, and he carried responsibilities that few players his age have ever faced. The finals exposed areas where he still needs to grow before becoming a championship-driving superstar. But while Wembanyama deserves some blame for the collapse, the evidence suggests there were others who deserve considerably more. Stunt number 2, the case against De'Aaron Fox. If Victor Wembanyama's shortcomings were mostly about what he didn't do, De'Aaron Fox's criticisms come from what he did do, or more accurately, what he failed to do when the Spurs needed him most. Entering the finals, Fox was supposed to be San Antonio's stabilizer. He was the veteran, he was the all-star, he was the experienced guard brought in specifically for moments like these. Instead, he delivered one of the most disappointing finals performances in recent memory. In Game 1, Fox finished with just 7 points, despite 38 minutes and being the team's second option. While one bad game can happen to anybody, the Spurs needed far more from a player of his caliber. The Knicks were determined to make life difficult for Wembanyama, which should have created opportunities for Fox to step forward offensively. Instead, he largely disappeared. Then came Game 4, the moment that will likely follow him for years. Holding on to a 1-point lead in the final seconds, Fox had the basketball in his hands with an opportunity to essentially put the game away. Rather than holding the ball and forcing New York to foul, he attempted a layup. The miss opened the door for the Knicks, who immediately capitalized and stole a game that San Antonio appeared positioned to win. Instead of heading home with the series tied, the Spurs found themselves staring at a 3-1 deficit. In a championship series, one decision can change everything. Fox made the wrong one. What made matters worse was his response afterward. Fans can forgive mistakes. Sports history is filled with great players who failed in crucial moments. What supporters struggle to accept is indifference. Fairly or unfairly, Fox's post-game demeanor came across as far too casual for a player whose mistake had just altered the trajectory of an NBA Finals. Spurs fans wanted frustration, they wanted accountability, they wanted visible disappointment. Instead, many felt like they got a shrug. Unfortunately, the struggles continued. In Game 5, facing elimination on his home floor, Fox once again finished with just 7 points. Meanwhile, rookie Dylan Harper frequently looked more confident, more aggressive, and more reliable than the veteran Max player standing beside him. By the end of the series, Fox's late-game numbers were disastrous. His confidence appeared shaken, and his stock had fallen to its lowest point ever. But as damaging as Fox's performance was, one question still remains. If everyone could see the problem developing, why did nothing ever change? That brings us to the final suspect in the Spurs' collapse. Stunt number 3, the case against Mitch Johnson. As disappointing as De'Aaron Fox's finals performance was, the strongest case for responsibility may ultimately point toward the Spurs coaching staff. Because while players lose games, coaches often lose series. By the time the finals reached its later stages, it was obvious Fox was struggling. His confidence appeared shaken, his offense had become inconsistent, and his decision-making was becoming a liability. The issue was that San Antonio continued operating as if nothing had changed. A coach's job is to adjust. When a player doesn't have it, you look for another solution. When a matchup isn't working, you alter the game plan. When a series begins exposing weaknesses, you attack the problem before it becomes fatal. The Spurs never seemed willing to do that. Instead, they repeatedly put the ball back in Fox's hands and hoped the results would eventually improve. Meanwhile, rookie Dylan Harper consistently showed signs that he may have been the team's most effective perimeter creator during stretches of the series. No, that doesn't mean Harper should have replaced Fox as the face of the offense, but there is a massive difference between replacing a player and simply adjusting roles. More Harper initiating offense and more variety in the late game attack. Something, anything. The inability to find answers became even more glaring when looking at the blown leads. One collapse can happen, but repeatedly watching large advantages disappear point toward larger structural issues. Those situations involve substitutions, timeout management, offensive organization, momentum control, and adjustments. Those are coaching responsibilities. The Spurs repeatedly looked comfortable while building leads, but completely lost their footing once New York began to push back. What makes this criticism even stronger is that the warning signs weren't hidden. Fans could see them, analysts could see them, the Knicks certainly saw them. Yet San Antonio never appeared to meaningfully alter its approach. Instead, the same problems resurfaced game after game until the series was over. This doesn't mean Mitch Johnson is a bad coach. Reaching the NBA Finals is an accomplishment many coaches never achieve, and Fox is a max contract guy. But great coaches are judged by how they respond when Plan A stops working. In this series, Plan A failed repeatedly, and the Spurs never found a reliable Plan B. That's why the coaching staff may deserve the largest share of the blame. All in all, there's plenty blame to go around for the Spurs' disappointing finals performance. Victor Wembanyama deserves criticism because superstars are held to superstar standards. He played well overall, but there were moments where San Antonio needed him to completely take over games and prevent momentum from shifting. That's the next step in his evolution as a player. De'Aaron Fox deserves criticism because his role demanded more than what he delivered. As the veteran all-star and second option, the Spurs needed him to stabilize the offense when things became difficult. Instead, some of the biggest moments of the series were defined by poor decisions by him, missed opportunities, and performances that fell far below expectations. But if we're assigning the largest share of responsibility, players are going to struggle, mistakes are going to happen. The job of a coaching staff is to recognize those problems and find solutions before they cost you a championship. The Spurs never found those solutions, and that's why New York is celebrating a title while San Antonio is left wondering what went wrong. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.